We probably all know a person who has a very kind of set way of thinking.
Yeah, and that can lead to some issues, as you might imagine, when it comes to relationships. So in today's Relationship Reboot, we're talking about how rigid thinking can hurt relationships, and especially when it comes to parenting.
Joining us now is our relationship guru, Kirsten Lind Seal. Kirsten, great to have you with us today.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So we all, whether it was a parent or maybe it's a spouse who has that my way or the highway kind of thinking, what is the problem with that?
The problem with that is that, we don't live in a world where everything is good or everything is bad, or it's not an either-or thing. There's a lot of gray. You might notice my outfit, I'm wearing gray today to be congruent with the color.
I love it.
So there's a lot of shades of gray in very many things. And so what happens is when people are really rigid in their relationships, there's no give. So there's so the idea of give and take, it's a simple one and it's really important. And when one person in the relationship does not have that ability, then things can go south really fast.
I think it's so easy to say that this is easy, but I think sometimes they're being told that you're compromising who you are if you're giving too much. So how do you find that balance?
Right. So, that kind of goes back to boundaries and sort of who you are in relationship, right? So if you find that people are saying things to you like, can you see it my way, or don't you have any idea what it might feel like to be me? Like, that's what happens. I see that a lot in my office when the one spouse might be very rigid and sort of like, no, this is the way it should be, and there's sort of no doubt about it and no argument, and the other spouse is like, yikes, now what do I do, right? So again, that give and take.
You say this affects parenting.
Yes, very much so, right?
So why is it, all of us, when we were kids, had a parent say, you need to do this because I said so. And I have found myself saying that, not often, but it comes out, you're like, I've become my parents.
Right, exactly, yeah. And so, but here's the key, not often. Right? That's the key. Authoritarian parenting is when your general style of parenting is the sort of my way or the highway, when you think kids should always act like grown-ups, when you don't have any room for mistakes or errors, when you punish without explanation, and then when you when you exercise your power as a parent, because as parents we're really powerful through fear and intimidation. That's authoritarian parenting. And I will actually say, Jason, from everything I know about you, I don't think that you are really an authoritarian parent. No.
It's hard to distinguish, I think, sometimes, though, because when you think about a parent, your job is to teach your kids what is right and what's wrong in the world. So you're saying the difference comes from not explaining where the punishment is coming from.
Right. And in the parenting field, so this has really been sort of like the major way people have been thinking for the last 20 years, is that there's demand on one hand, what we expect from our kids, and then there's support, how we're supporting our kids. And the difference between authoritarian parenting, which can be really damaging, is there's high demand, high expectation, but low support. And what you want to think about is what we call authoritative parenting, which sounds really similar, but what that is high demand, high expectations, and also high support. And that's the difference.
So you don't just completely swing the pendulum to like, hey,
whatever. Well, we call that permissive, right? And then that brings with it a host of other issues too.
What happens to a kid when you are the child of an authoritarian parenting style? Negative consequences?
Yeah, what happens is the kids tend to come out with very dualistic ways of thinking, like it's either this or it's that. The other thing that happens that is so damaging, and it's sort of a more subtle way, it's a more gray way of looking at things, is that they have trouble dealing with their emotions because they're pressured to conform all the time. So they don't know how, they don't have the tools to deal with some really hard emotions.
What are some examples that you can give for parents if maybe like you're recognizing, okay, I'm hearing that might be me.
Right.
What are some ways to kind of ease into maybe a less rigid way of thinking?
The first thing that I would say is actually listen to your child. So listening to your child doesn't mean that you're not going to still say, no, you can't run in the street, or yes, you can have this fourth Snickers bar, or whatever. It means just listening to what they have to say. And sometimes just listening to them and then having a conversation about this rule or this thing that went wrong is really important. There are parents whose children say to them, who parent well, and the kids are like, just don't talk to me, stop talking to me, because the parents are talking. But the thing is, in the way our world is going and with the economy the way it is today, kids who have emotional intelligence, which is also one of the things that is really tied in here, are going to do the best. Like, there's a lot of research around that. And so they need to have tools to understand how to see their world and how to understand it, and parents talking to them is a really important part of that.
Great stuff to think about. Kirsten, thanks so much.